I started to explain what we have in store for you today. And then Sharon said, hey, you aren't even recording, but now I am.
And it was so nice. What you did, the flow of it was really great.
I can do nice sometimes.
Yes.
So, would you like to start with the intro? Because the other ones...
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. So, greeting, friends, and welcome to Season 2 of Free Range Thinking. We're here again in our cozy recording caves, ready to dive into some interesting topics and rabbit holes. I'm Sharon Lee.
And I'm Alex Carl, and I'm still excited because I just realized that this is our 51st episode, and the last week's episode with Chris was our 50th woo-woo anniversary. Which, when you're listening to this and you're asking yourself, hey, but it's episode 22. Yes, but the one with Chris was 21, and the one before from last year was 29, and those added together is 50.
So, math. We're doing math, folks.
Here we
Hang on.
are. Yeah. And so, for the 51st time, we deliver a delicious buffet of neurodivergent topics, discussions, questions, and exploration around the subject of living as a neurodivergent human. And we love exploring and celebrating how people like us can not only thrive in today's world, but prosper, because the world desperately needs neurodivergent humans to bring real transformation and evolution to mankind.
And yeah, I put my thing away here.
Okay, we are the keys to the shitstorm of the one-size-fits-all world, and that is no joke. Sorry that I put you on the spot there, Sharon.
Totally okay. I was like looking at something else totally. I was like, wait. Yeah, that is no joke, my friends. And today I've got a topic. You know, it's like, this is like when life gets real, when shit gets real. And so... yeah, this last week, or since I last spoke with you, yeah, one of these like typical situations happened, and I was noticing many things around it. I was noticing, how I felt about it, how I reacted, what my superpowers allow me to do and function in situations like this, and how I process it. So I was super, super aware, and I haven't had a situation like this come for a while, and it really caught me off guard, and which doesn't happen often because I usually think of every angle, not and I don't mean that in a controlling way, but I just this is just what I naturally do. And so I don't get emotionally caught off guard very often. It's rare. Yeah. And so then I was just like, at the same time, the feelings were very intense, I was also incredibly fascinated by what was going on. Whoa. As well as people's reaction to me, because I talked to a couple of people about it. And so it was interesting also to see people's reaction, to this situation, and especially to me, and how I was feeling and reacting. And it's a definite thing, that's a gift and a curse of, and again, I'm going to say some things in here, and it's going to sound like, oh, I'm everything. I don't mean it that way, please, but it's like I have to be totally honest. And because I do function on a fairly high level of emotional intelligence, and so I know that the people around me then count on that, so that when something happens and I'm upset, it's very disturbing to the people who are used to me like always being rock solid, and so that part of it was interesting as well. And just as a side note, Saskia and I were guinea pigs with this woman's. This has nothing to do with what the event I'm going to tell you, or the situation I'm going to tell you about, but it gives a good kind of a backdrop of it. Saskia and I were, because we do a lot of collaboration, and we're working partners as well as friends, and collaborative housemates, roommates, more than just roommates, but the in terms of working together, it's like a working collaborative household. And so we volunteered ourselves to be guinea pigs for this person, this woman who was doing some training and like helping people in conflict, or how do they deal with their partnership. And so I was like, oh, this is cool. This is fascinating. In fact, in the outcome, we didn't give her much to work with because our working relationship is so healthy. She said at the end, she goes, wow, that was kind of boring. You guys are too emotionally, healthy and the emotional. She said, you guys have a high level of emotional intelligence. Therefore, there's like no drama. And she kept asking questions, and we were like, no, not really. No, that doesn't really come up. And she was like, she had nothing to work with us, pretty much. But it was fascinating.
I really would like to be more. Have a bigger armor against people that always want to have drama. I'm still not there that I can just like brush it off when people starting dramas. But go ahead. Sorry. So this thing that happened, and I'm gonna talk about this, but I'm not gonna name any names. I'm not going to name the things, so it's some of the stuff you're like, wait, details, and it's like, well, yeah, no. But it's such an incredible learning experience. And as the thing was happening, I was just like, oh, I'm going to talk about this in a workshop. I could build a workshop around this, and which is kind of one of the things that I do. Everything that happens, oh man, there's a hell of a lot of silver linings in stuff that we go through, and that we can turn it around and really use it and teach other people. So, hey, let me set the scene here. I am in the process of like putting together all my stuff, the stuff that I do, workshops, coachings, trainings, retreats, all of this stuff. And I am, for the first time, putting it on a particular platform. And this platform, I haven't done it before, because platforms up to date now, they tend to homogenize the fees of coaches, trainers, and facilitators. And I don't agree with that. And when they say homogenize, they homogenize it very low. So they like pit these people against each other for their fees, and they get the fee very low, and the platform makes all the money. I really don't agree with that. And I'm a big advocate for, like, fuck off. Don't make your money off the backs of artists and contractors that are, solopreneurs and freelancers. I feel very strongly about that. And I won't do a rant at this point. But there's a lot of people who can't advocate for themselves, and they're not, when I say can't advocate for themselves, they're uncomfortable with it. And they're uncomfortable with putting a value on what that they love and their passion, for their service. And there's other people that take advantage of that. This particular platform that I'm talking about is very different. And the way that they were speaking, and I had a couple interviews with the people in they're putting the thing together. And I was like, wow, these people really had their hearts in the right place. And so the people that are on the platform, we get our, our fee. We get whatever we ask for. A tiny piece of it percentage of it goes to the platform. I said, wow, this is the way to do it. I've never seen anything like this. Yeah, I want to play. And so what I did is I'm using myself as a test animal, and if it checks out, then I have a lot of friends who do this kind of stuff. But I don't want, until I know for sure, I don't want to line them up for something that's going to be disappointing, which I'm really now super happy that I did that. And anyway, so I'm getting all my stuff together and getting it in line. It's not easy because they need videos, they need text, you have to put all your stuff in an Excel sheet.
which this part is killing me as a dyslexic. It's super difficult. So there's, the thing of like the timeline to get it on, because they're doing a soft launch, and how they want it. And so the communication, and I imagine for a lot of people with ADHD, this would be very difficult. So again, this is all part of the testing, and it's not easy for me to get all this stuff on here in alignment, in how it should be. Yeah.
May I ask, is the platform like especially for neurodivergent people?
No. No.
Okay. So when you feedback that it's really hard for people with ADHD, I'm talking about
me, and I'm guessing a lot of people that I know would have would have a struggle getting all their stuff in the right form on this platform. Especially
because I mean I know a little bit about the behind the scenes, because we talked about that some weeks ago. But what is another barrier or another hurdle for people like me, for example, is when you send me a big Excel spreadsheet where I should fill out what I have accomplished and what I have in my portfolio and all that stuff.
They're not asking that on the spreadsheet.
It's like blank for me. Because I don't think I can live up to that, for example.
Okay, hold on a second. I'll touch on that. This particular spreadsheet is just what I'm offering.
Okay.
And it's like the times, the thing, but it's like the spreadsheet. It moves around. I can't see if I shrink it down to make it in the whole picture.
Yeah, and
then it's too tiny to work with. I can't work with it, and I can't keep my place on it.
And then they should say, hey, just send us a Word document or send us some photographed pictures where we can read your handwriting. We will put it in the format that we need. But putting you in this corset of an Excel sheet is just, they don't get the quality they could get if they just would say, okay, do whatever you do and how you do it and send it to us. And
that's another aspect of it, and so I'll tie it all together, because I don't even know if I've told them how difficult this is.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, but that's important.
They know I'm neurodivergent. They know that that's my niche in my swim lane, and helping other people.
They can't. Maybe they think, oh, we have such a great Excel sheet, and we thought about everything, and it's so easy for everybody. And when they don't, I mean, as a startup,
everybody thinks that, except for us.
If they are a startup and nobody tells them that, you are a customer. You are a customer for this platform, and you should be totally brutally honest with your feedback, how they can make a better onboarding experience.
That's coming. Yeah, but I don't want to.
But then don't. I would suggest you don't fight this Excel sheet, but tell them I can do it in this Excel sheet. You have to give me an opportunity to give me another way.
Right, but I hear what you're saying. Okay, I hear what you're saying. The alternative, because they're working and they're not a big team. Okay. Because I know what they're doing, and I know that they're struggling to get lift off. Okay. I am not going to ask these people to do extra work for me at this point. Okay. Now, I'm testing it, and I'm saying what's easy, what's hard, what was difficult about this. I will have this conversation. Okay. Believe me.
Okay.
The only thing I could really do on my end is ask Saskia, hey, here's my information. Can you put it on the Excel sheet for me? This is what I would do on my end to facilitate the process, not dump it on these people at this point before, they've got enough to deal with. And so I'm conscious of what they're not this, totally established thing. No, they're building this thing on the fly. And I respect that. And I see kind of where they're, hustling and struggling. And so it's like, okay, I want them to be a success because I want my stuff on here. Wait, hold on. Because we're focusing on the Excel sheet, and this is not the part of the story.
Okay.
that I'm telling. So we could come back to that because it is a part of it, right? And the fact that I have really like gone out of my comfort zone and have done this thing. And so I'm really proud of it because I've got my stuff on there. I've got, I don't know how many columns it is, but my stuff is on there and it's correct. Not only that, I coached one of my friends because there's 3 of us, we know each other that are doing this. One of which I helped her. I sat with her online and helped her clean up her Excel sheet, which is wild, even to think of that, and and tweak it in such a way of like, okay, this is where you need this is where you need that. Now, I could probably do that because it takes me so long to do it that I'm like super familiar with it. Now, if I stop doing it, I'll forget it. But for the moment, on this particular Excel sheet, I know where everything is and where it should be and how it should be, right?
Cool.
So I'm like how do you say, a momentary expert? A blink of an eye expert in the thing. It'll be gone next month. Unless if I have to do something regularly, I can stay in it. But as soon as I look away from it, forget it.
Sure.
And then my other friend, he wasn't going to do it. And I pushed him to put his stuff up. I helped him do his video, his introduction video, all this stuff. And I pushed him because he wasn't going to do it. And I said, look, you really need to do this. And here's why, and I told him about it. And so, so the 3 of us, we were pushing it to do this on this platform. And my intro looks very different than other people's. I did all these graphics. Then the people came back to me and said, it doesn't fit. The design team said that they just doesn't really mesh with it. And I was like, shit. But then I thought, you know what? I kind of wanted to use them as I was making them. I thought, wow, I'd really love to have these for LinkedIn, but that might be a conflict. Well, now it's not going to be. And now I can use them. So again, silver lining, they're already done. Yeah. I've got like 7 or 8 of them. And I was just like, oh, this is pretty cool. Perfectly fully formed graphics of my services and offerings. And, so this has been progressing like this. And then they did their very, very, very soft launch. It was like a liquid launch this last week. And so they have like 9 people, and I'm not one of them.
Huh?
And I was taking a nap, and I woke up from my nap, and I was like, looking on my phone, and I had to do a co-hosting thing in like a half an hour after I woke up from my nap. And so I was looking at my phone, and I was just like, oh, they put the thing up online. And so I looked at it, and I was like, that I'm not on there. I'm like the 9 people that aren't. And it doesn't have, like, it's just like almost like a landing page. It's like if you click on the people's names, that you don't get their full information or anything. And they have their, like, just like 2 sentences underneath each picture. Mm-hmm. But I'm not on there. But my 2 friends are. And I was like, what? Really? And I just started crying, which this is what caught me off guard. Yeah. Because, and it's not like, oh, I don't cry. I'm so tough, I don't cry. It's not that. It's just that I always work through stuff, so it never gets to that point. Mm. And the times that I do cry, it's because I'm frustrated. Mm. It really caught me off guard. And so that was disorienting because I'm rarely in that state. And I was just like, oh, and then I thought, shit, I have to do this thing in now 20 minutes. And I was just like, and I just felt like I couldn't stop crying, but I was, so I came downstairs and made a coffee and but I was just like, oh, my emotions were like, they were like right here. And I was like, why am I so upset? because usually I just think through this stuff and I'm thinking, okay, that's because of that. That's because of that. And then I'm, not fine, but I process it. Right. But this time I was just like, why am I so upset? Wow, I really must have had a lot of feelings and hopes, or did I have expectations? No, I didn't have any expectations.
But you put so much work in it. And
so I was like, and I was just trying to process it and real. And I have no doubt that I'm not 100%, but it's like, I know I'm going to be on there. But here's the deal. Here's where it gets interesting. I looked at the thing again, and everybody that they have on there, and I know my friends, bios. It's like they pulled out 2 sentences on everybody's bio and went for the maximum amount of, I want to say credibility bang in terms of, the certifications, or, this person is a speaker in the Fortune 500 or yada, yada, yada. And this person, and they have like one black woman, and she's got, like, I want to say it's something top model of something rather, and yada, yada. So I know what they're doing. And I was like, the thing of being, choosing the people who are absolutely top, most professional, the shiniest, objects to put out in front to build their own credibility. I get it. I totally get it. And what struck me is that, again, I'm a weirdo. So I will never be put up in that first group. And weirdos like me, this is what we deal with. Is never being chosen as the valued shiny object to be out front, to be representative in a position of value. And I know that. And yeah, I talk about it all the time. This time it caught me off guard because of the conversations that I'd had with these people. And I thought, but I also recognize in the text that they have on the website now, or what as it is right now, just like kind of like I said, the holding and landing page type thing, what they kind of had before and what we had in the discussions, it's almost like they're selling their souls. And they're saboteurs of, like, they're afraid that they're not going to get credibility. Therefore, they're choosing things that are actually in conflict with how they really are. Because the couple people I talked to, and like, oh, fuck them. Don't, and I was like, no. These are good people. These are really good people.
But
and their heart...
They don't know what they really want.
It's not that they really want. It's no. And I see it over and over and over in companies where they will do something contradictory to what their heart says because of the fear. Again, it's that primal thing of not being liked or not being valued or not being seen as professional. So this is what they want. And I understand the clients that they're going for, these companies that need the coaches, and so they're trying to get contracts with these companies. And if these companies, if I don't know, but I'm guessing, and I'm pretty sure the guess is correct, that it's how these companies are talking to them and what the things that they're interested in, it looks like they're switching their languaging, because before it was like more health and wellness. And now the stuff looks like skills and, it looks like picking up more skills.
The thing is,
and I'm just like, oh wow, I hope they stick to what what they started with, because that was an amazing model.
When you first told me about that platform and what they ask and what you were filling out, it sounded like. It sounded like really special. I mean, I haven't seen it, and I haven't heard it only through you. So
Yeah.
one of your talents is if you think something is special, then you are able to make it or let it sound like it's really, really special.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe I heard more what your interpretation of it. But still, it makes me really sad because it sounded like they built something really cool, really special, and now they are just trying to be one of thousands of other platforms that are trying to earn some money with selling some streamlined shit that you can get at every corner.
And I think this was what was so upsetting to me, because I was just like, oh no, not again. So it might have been disappointment. There's a number of things in there, in the feelings that
Okay.
it was interesting to notice them. Hold on a second. And there's, but I think just for the launcher to get it up and running, I understand, especially because I don't know the back end of it and the clients that they're going after and who's interested in it. So I understand that they have to pivot a little, which is completely normal. And so I respect, the game of how you have to do this and sometimes, and I mean, come on, the stuff that I'm putting out is so different and odd that it's hard to put languaging around it. It's hard to get people to notice what it is and the value of it. So I completely understand that. And so this is why when I saw they were doing what they were doing, I was like, oh man, at last. I was like, these people are phenomenal, because I haven't seen anybody do this. But when you're out front and doing experimental, strange stuff, there is that thing of like, how do you wrap it? How do you serve it in a world that is not used to, and maybe not ready for, So it's like, so I was asking myself the question of like, okay, I really want, bottom line, I want my stuff on this platform. This is what I want. This is what I'm working towards. Working towards, because I know that it will work for me in other ways. This will enhance other things that I'm doing. It's not the end all be all to be on this platform by any stretch, but I see it working in tandem with other stuff that I'm doing, even this podcast, because of course I put the podcast, things on there that I do. This is part of it, it's like, this is part of the stuff that gives and adds to the trust and credibility. You want to ask a question?
No, I want to let me know when I can step off the path into a little detour and then come back to that. I mean,
do you really need permission? Do we need permission to step off the path?
No, but I didn't.
You mean to totally derail it?
I wanted to hear the whole story first.
Yeah. Well, to wrap it up, it's interesting, and which is why I'm sharing it today, because, as neurodivergents, it's like, where do we put our stuff? Where do we share our stuff? Where do we share ourselves? Our full selves. And this is the thing, is because I can fully be myself, or, I thought, but like I said, it's like, shit, again, reconfirmed, by the world that it's like, no, I'm not a thing of value. I know I am, and I know we are, but it's like, God damn it. When are people going to recognize this, that it's very high value to be the weirdo in the room, and why wouldn't you have a few people like that? Why does it have to be homogeneously, neurotypical, little bio sentence presentation type thing? And why wouldn't that, people be attracted to that? But again, if we don't do that, we're perpetuating it. So companies that continue to do that, you're perpetuating it. You continue to make the problem, if that makes any sense. but it's so, but I share it to let people know that this is, you know, it is a thing. And people say, well, maybe they'll do it later. I'm like, you know, they'll add you. And I'm like, it's done. You know, not the whole thing is done, but no. You know, not the damage is done. I don't mean it in that profound of a way, but in a way, yeah, it's that death by 1,000 paper cuts of, you know, you're not of value. It's one of these signals. And so, yes, I'm going to speak about it. And no, I'm not going to let anybody diminish that message, because this is a thing. And people, you know, people of color, people of other marginalized, you know, anything, this is what it looks like. This is exactly what it looks like. And so I encourage people to, if you come across something like this, just ask yourself, you know, what is it you really want? Because people say, you should write them a letter. You should have, and I was like, I will, you know, if the time comes, but I'm not going to waste my energy. You know, my goal is to get to be on the platform so that I can use it as a stepping stone to do other things.
I have another idea as well.
It doesn't mean, hold on a second, because this part is really important. It doesn't mean I'm sucking it up and not saying anything. That is not going to happen. But what I do want is to be on there and then kind of let it be a teaching moment. And the funny part is that when I'm on the platform, I'm going to do a workshop about this, but not name any names or whatever, you know, change it a bit. I'm going to do a workshop about it on their platform, which kind of is funny to me, which of course I want to do. But it's a thing, you know, it's like, how do we as neurodivergents get into things without contorting ourselves, you know, and I'm asking myself, what, you know, how flexible should I be to get on this thing? Should I, you know, it's all these questions that we have to ask ourselves that kind of like, you know, the certified and you know, the stuff that's easy for neurotypicals or easier, you know, the stuff that's very, very difficult for a lot of us, you know, what do we do and how do we do it and when do we speak up? So anyway, so I'm just putting that on the table. Yeah, because it was current and it was a thing that happened recently, and voila. And I'm not, you know, it's not going to kill me. It's not going to, you know, not think of like, you know, what kills you makes you stronger, bullshit type stuff. It's like, no, it's tough. And so it's like the thing to do is like, give yourself a piece of, you know, time and process it and don't let anybody tell you, don't feel bad. There'll be other things. Shut up, man. It hurts. You know, it feels like shit. So it's like, fully feel it, but then go, okay, what now?
How many people are in your circle that you would say are some kind of neurodivergent coach?
Oh, a lot now. A lot. I don't even know the number of people because I have different circles of stuff. And then now because of, you know, that I lead and I have it on my LinkedIn profile and I lead with it, people just gravitate towards me. So now I would say, my God, just literally right off the top of my head, I don't know, 200-300. And I mean, there's small circles and then there's concentric circles. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I before the pandemic hit, I was quite into like classical music for beginners. Because an ex-boss of mine, he started this project. He's a CEO of a company, but he's also a very well-known keynote speaker. and his wife is she studied piano, and she's here in this region. She works at the University for Classical Music as a piano teacher and player. So they put together a keynote program where they explain classical music to people who are interested in it, but who are overwhelmed and shy away from just going to a concert or so. So it's like a beginner class into classical music.
Oh, cool.
And I did several videos with them, and so I was a little bit involved when they started the whole project. And so I learned a lot about classical music this way, and then I researched those topics that I was really interested in, like Bach, for example, and little playing piano and stuff like that. And then I thought, the wondrous thing of today is that listening to music, and especially to classical music, is so easy nowadays. And you can find the pieces really easy that you would like to listen to or that you heard somewhere, and you can find different orchestrations and interpretations. But when you think back, then especially classical musicians, professional classical musicians, aren't that creative. They are really good at recreating something that somebody else created 200-300 years ago. So the experience of live classical music is what makes it really special. And so I thought, okay, I built a platform, and I wanted to call it Creare Pausa in the sense of make a pause, which we say in German. I make pause. It's like I have a lunch break or I have a break and make pause. So it's Creare Pausa. And my idea was, okay, all those classical musicians, they have to practice, and they practice anyway because it's their job to practice. Why not build a platform like Airbnb where you don't book a place to sleep, but you can book a classical musician that practices in front of you. Like, you can book a classical musician that comes.
That's a great idea.
That comes to your company, for example, in a lunch break, and you say, okay, we would like to have some relaxing music, or we would like to have some energizing, focusing music, whatever. And they get paid to sit in our office or in our cafeteria or Mensa or whatever and play there for an hour, and we pay them like $200-300 or so, which would be, I mean, if a company invites 5 or 6 clients to a lunch, then it's $200 or $300 anyway. So that was the idea, and I didn't build it, but I found all the puzzle pieces I needed to build it. But yeah, because of the pandemic, it wasn't possible anyway. But what I think now is I pull out the concept for this platform again and how I would build it, and we build this Neurodivergent coaches platform ourselves, and build a platform that we would really like to be on.
Well, this is what I was telling you when I was wanting to put together like kind of a team and starting small with just a team of neurodivergent, kind of like a Navy SEAL team of neurodivergents that go into companies and, whatever. And I was thinking of a core team and then a concentric circles of people that I could pull from depending on the contract. And so this is still on a side burner. It's not an upfront project, because I'm missing a couple components, one of which is somebody who's willing to step up and anybody listening to this podcast, please call me to manifest this thing. But to somebody who's willing to do the administrivia part of it, because I can't. I can't put the thing, it's like we're going to need to put all the prospective people into an Excel sheet, for example, or to make, the phone calls and follow-ups and things like that. And I'm not a follow-up person. So I've got the people, but I don't have, the administrative type people in place for this. And so, because when you are talking about neurodivergence and the different people, then they're brilliant in their own ways. And it's like, I don't necessarily even need to be in the team that goes out and do that, but to make it and to choose the people and curate it, I'm really good at. And I can see how the teams would work together, and then setting up the team and facilitating that I'm really good at. So there's components of it missing. So it's exactly what you're talking about. And then I thought, okay, we do it with one team, and then we do it in another team and another team. But to just, I don't need to scale the damn thing. I'm not after that. I'm after the quality more than the quantity. So I already have this in my head, and it's in process because I've talked to people, and I've got a hell yes from a number of my nearest and dearest and brilliant, friends. And they're just like, hell yes, let me know. And it's like, okay, so I've taken it as far as it can go at this point, but I'm missing some key component people in the mix. And but I'm right there. I think it's a really good idea. And I think it's something that, that we need to build ourselves. Put it out there.
Exactly?
What's that?
What is missing exactly?
It's just the kind of more of the administrative end of it and stuff, and because I've got all the I know all the parts, but to bring them together and
what do you mean with administrative?
Well, just, somebody setting up files, somebody setting up the thing, like, what do we do with these texts that I have randomly in my documents and notes and in my head, and let's get everything nailed down and in a package, somebody to put, to actually build the website. Somebody to do this, there's a lot of components to it that if you're going to do something like that, it needs not just look professional, it needs to be professional.
No, it doesn't. It needs to be the free range platform where if somebody wants to write 30 pages of text, he or she should get the opportunity to build their page that's really text heavy. If people would like to use more videos, then they should put videos into their profile or in their portfolio.
Right, but who's going to build the platform? I don't have that person right now.
I'm pretty confident.
Are you volunteering, young man?
I'm pretty confident that to build an MVP where we can experiment with and let like 9 or 12 people on there and say, okay, everybody, here's your page and here's your page, and do whatever the fuck you want with it. And make it yours. That's the thing. You are like, it doesn't have to be professional. It has to be cool. It has to be.
Well, when I meant professional, it's got to be something. You can't. It's got to be something that a client could go and look at. That's what I meant by professional. Professional in my world means just something that's tangible that they can look at. I don't mean professional. Yeah, I guess,
but that's
like what other people.
That's really not a big deal. What?
So everybody who's listening, you heard it. It's on air. He said that he's going to help do this thing. So, so you're screwed now. Now you got to do it. No, it's you know me. It's like if you change your mind, you've got that option as well. But that's that would be cool. And anybody listening, if you want to, you know, jump up. And it doesn't mean forever. If somebody wants to jump in, you know, and roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty and you know, needless to say, this is a passion project, because we certainly aren't going to be, we're not getting paid at this point, and you know, we're not going to be paying anybody to do this. But I do see the capacity to create a fair income, a just and fair income for people, and this is what I'm after, you know. And it's like from how we're hardwired and how we work, and it's like but a lot of my friends are working on stuff like this in their own projects,
and it's so
I
important
think that in the future, this is what, you know, this can look like. So it's, you know, yeah.
I mean, the other thing is something that I came across the last 1 or 2 weeks really often. I mean, it's an algorithmic thing as well. The more I look for things like neurodiversity, ADHD, introvertness, aphantasia in social networks, of course, the more I get bombarded with content from that direction. But what I see more and more in the last weeks is it almost feels for me like there are people who try to rip off people with ADHD, for example, and sell them really expensive coaches or 8-week programs or like $80 ADHD planning tools that are just some thrown together Notion files. And yeah. I think, and yeah, that to me that really looks like people want to make some money on the backs of people that are really desperate and would like grab every straw they can find, and a platform that we are talking about would be, for one side, that people, that neurodivergent people who say, okay, I have some kind of coaching skills, or I would like to share my experience or my strategies and my tools with other people, have a platform. Other neurodivergent who aren't in this position yet have somebody to talk to, and neurotypicals who are aware of, okay, neurodivergent people and their strengths could really help me in a really specific way, and I would like to book those skills for my company or as a personal coaching or whatever. Mm-hmm. We could make it easy that those people can find the right match. And this musician platform I was talking about, I planned it for like, okay, it's a database of musicians, of like hundreds or even thousands of music students and musicians that offer their instrument that they are playing and their favorite pieces, or the pieces they are practicing right now, and the favorite pieces that they can play right off the bat. So that a company who says, okay, I would like to have somebody playing classical music here, but I don't have any idea about classical music, that they can say, I want some energizing music and I want some relaxing music, and I like string instruments. So right. So you can set filters, and then you get from like a portfolio of a pool of 300-400 musicians. You get the 3 or 4 in your region that are nearby, know some. So you let the musicians put in the titles of the pieces they are playing, but also classify or tag the pieces. That they say, okay, I play this piece of Mozart and this is really energizing and maybe it helps focusing and it's really uplifting and happy, for example. And if a company says, okay, I would like to have somebody who plays one of these brown things that you have between your knees or that you held up on your chin, I don't know how it's called. It's a violin or it's a cello. And I want to let them play something uplifting, then they can filter after this tags and get the musicians that do exactly those music. Like you are using Airbnb when you're looking for a venue for a retreat or workshop. And the search for neurodivergent coaches, I would say, should work in the same way. So that
I agree.
So that neurotypical people who don't know which neurodivergent treats are out there can type in something like, I need a crisis manager. I need somebody who can give me some tips how to deal with a crisis, for example.
Right.
And the platform shows people like ADHD people, for example, who categorize themselves as being good as that.
And a lot of it is, and here's, as you're talking, it is, something popped into my head. And a lot of it is, experiential or so much of it is experiential and, how do you showcase that? And it's through storytelling. And it's the thing of who takes time to listen to a story. They just want to see something on a list with bullet points. So it's going to take doing something really cool and then putting it out there. And in the beginning, there's going to be kind of a smaller group going to a platform like that and taking the time to get to know or to hear the stories. Because here's an example. One of the things I noticed with this thing that happened with this platform, and I was sitting around with my wife Lydia and Saskia, and I said, I noticed something interesting. And I said, how much negative self-talk do you think I've experienced during the time when this thing, it was like 24 hours or something, 24 going into 48 hours. I said, how much, the quantity or whatever of negative self-talk do you think I'm experiencing with this thing of, kind of like emotional and I want to say sadness, disappointment, anger, this cocktail of emotion thing going on. And I said between, 0 and 500. And Saskia was like, well, okay, for you, I know it's not a lot, but, and I said, well, how much? So she guessed 25. And I looked at her and I said, how about 0? How about 0?
Okay.
Now, I know for a fact that puts me in a category of being very alien. And it's very difficult for me to speak about that depending on who I'm talking to, I change and I don't share stuff like that. Of course, now I'm sharing it with you and everybody. But it's one of the things that I don't share a lot because I can tell by the look on people's faces that they either think I'm lying or they think I'm in denial. But it happens to be one of those things that's because of how I was raised and my particular hardwiring and neurodivergence that I just don't. I don't really suffer from the saboteurs. And I don't take it personally and things that kind of happen. If somebody does something and they make it personal, I get angry, but I don't turn it on myself and say, I suck, I'm nothing, I shouldn't be doing this. None of that. Now, Saskia she said, but I heard you talking, I heard you saying this and that. And I said, yeah, but that wasn't turned towards me. So then I started thinking, and I talked to 2 people since then. I was like, this thing I noticed. And I was like, how do I share that with people? What value? But again, it's so innate in me, it's hard for me to put words around it or share it other than to say, well, just do it. Well, just choose not to, which is, okay, number one, that's almost cruel. It doesn't, and very difficult. But that particular skill,
how would you call that skill?
Coaching.
How
it's an emotional, it's partially emotional intelligence, but I don't necessarily think it's all that. There's an awareness and a perspective, and this is what I do with some coaching and some workshops, is about perspective and self-permission, and it's all wrapped up in it. So I'm always talking about this stuff, but not specifically that. Now, there's a lot of emotional intelligence coaching that I do, but it's and talking about the saboteurs, and the people actually who have this platform have been through the same program for emotional intelligence that I've been through, and the 2 people also that my friends that we went through the program together, as a matter of fact. But I know nobody else that has that level of thing as me. So that puts me in a layer of expert, but not from something I've studied. Now granted, it could be because of how my mother raised me. I'm not sure, but it's definitely a combination. But I'm telling you, I don't know anybody else who has that thing like I do. And so, like, that's of high value. But what, how do I wrap that up and market it? What good is it? And I was asking, so I asked a couple of people, I said, okay, this particular thing, how would you recommend me, with that skill? What is that good for if you have a company? Which is an interesting way to look at it, but all of our skills, anybody who's neurodivergent, and something that, asking each other, and having, an outside perspective of helping us, like, how do we market these things that we are, a kind of the intangible things that really, really make a difference and can really help a company or a person.
So, you think it's teachable?
Some aspects of it, yes, absolutely. It's perspective, the perspective and distancing, because that's what happens. That's the component of it, is that I don't take things personally, and I can stand to the side and go, okay, that's interesting. And this happens because of this, and this is, this is in play. And whereas if you're taking stuff personally, you'll be like, this happened to me and I feel bad and they're doing this. And it's like, so there's no blaming in my orbit thing. And I could tell when people are blaming each other. And, especially in my couple, my poor wife, I just like, hey, nobody needs to be blamed here. Why are you doing that? The tone in your voice, she hates that when I speak like that. But I don't tolerate it. I have a hard time tolerating. I
totally can relate to that, because somebody here in this household is always looking for blaming someone.
Yeah. We love you guys. We love you guys. You know that, right?
But what was really cool, relieving, and funny. We were at Zoe's cousin's birthday, 8th or 9th birthday recently, and we were sitting in the garden, and I don't get the whole situation together, I guess. I said Angie talked to Zoe in a way where I said to her, okay, maybe you shouldn't talk to her like this way, like top down and just telling her what to do. Just explain to her why she should do that and blah, blah, blah. And across the table were sitting his brother and his wife. And then we got in a little friendly argument, Angie and me, about that. And suddenly her brother looked at his wife, and they have their kids are 18 and 20 or so. But they got kids really young. I think his brother is Angie's brother is 2 years younger than me.
Okay.
And he said to his wife is like 33 or 34 or so. And he, no, that would be too young. She's 38, 39, something like that. I think she got the boy when she was 19 or 20. And he looked at her and said, I think I have to apologize for a lot of things to you when I see how Angie is talking to Alex. And I was like, what do you mean? And he says, yeah, I see some family dynamics that we were arguing about as well. And so, and Nicole was like, his wife was like, yeah, I see that too. Yeah, we really had fun. The only person that hadn't that much fun and that felt really caught was my girlfriend. But for me, it was like really relieving, or it makes it much easier for me to say, hey, that what you are doing here seems to be some kind of family dynamics that have built up in your childhood already, because your brother realized that too. She doesn't get that angry about it, because when I said, okay, you are this way now and I don't like that, please don't do that, because that's really rude or really unfair what you are doing, then I'm projecting it directly on her and saying like she is doing something wrong.
Right.
When the interesting thing is that she's totally aware what shitload her parents put on her. She's not talking to her father since 20 years or so, and is really consequent about that. And even then, she gets really angry when I criticize her parents and what they just totally fucked up about their whole 4 children, which is obvious, but she sees herself. And so getting this confirmation from her brother, who is a coach as well. So I mean he's a coach for companies like team building and Kaizen and this.
Okay.
So
he's had
stuff, but he has a really good eye for those dynamics. And after that, we talked about that he has to do a leading management workshop with people that work in a storage facility, and like this forklifter drivers who suddenly get in the leading position, and to teach them how they should lead and how they should talk to other people, and that they shouldn't go like, now I'm your boss and now I'm telling you what to do. That's not a good idea.
What? That's not a good idea?
What? But now I get paid for that, to put people down. Why am I not allowed to?
But that's what the old dynamics of leadership looked like. You know, it's that punishment model that is so prevalent in a lot of cultures, you know, and especially if it's macho and, power over, not power with.
And I mean, those people went through this process as a person on a lower rank of the hierarchy as well, and they had to live through that and bear that, and now they think they are in a position where they can give it back to the next generation, and
exactly,
it didn't hurt me or it didn't hurt us, so now that's the only thing I know, so now I put that on you too. But the most interesting thing for me was to get some kind of confirmation that those family dynamics are really in play there, and putting the finger on it and say, okay, this is something, it's not your fault, but you shouldn't do it anymore either.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing. It's like that my mother changed is, the toxic family dynamics, and also why she got a divorce from my father. She left my father because she's like, I don't want to raise my kids in this atmosphere. And that's a very brave thing to do, to walk away, from a security situation. And choose the hard road. That's a very, very, very brave and scary thing to do when you don't have the answers, you don't know what's going to happen, and to step outside the norms.
Yes.
Yeah, and can be a very, very lonely, lonely path, and financially treacherous, especially as a single mother. But it's even so, even in a a secure situation, to step outside the norms of society. But again, this is circling back. This is what, anybody who's on the divergent anything, who marginalized, neurodivergents are marginalized in some other ways. We have a pretty, I want to say, well-developed set of muscles of naturally being on the outside of the norm of society. Now, what's crazy is that when you say the norm, it's like the chosen collective values of a particular society. Because, and the fact of the matter is, what is normal, what has been agreed on in culturally isn't most often the majority. But it is, the illusion of, in what the agreed upon, the power structure of what is normal, quote unquote normal.
Yeah.
But having, tapping into is why it's so important to tap into, the diversity and the marginalized, divergence and the marginalized, the, people on the edges. So important. It actually gives people, and companies an advantage. But getting people to shift their perspective, it's like, that the Matrix thing of taking the blue pill or the red pill, everybody has the power of letting go of the perspective, the given dominant perspective. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but you just can, it's like drawing back the curtain of Oz and seeing what's really at play.
It's absolutely not going to be easy. I think that's the reason why so few neurotypical people really explore that. I mean, most of them maybe don't know anything about it, so they don't know that there is something to explore. But those who do, they see that it's a level of complexity. I mean, it's not that's what I just thought. It's not the red or the blue pill. It's like a rainbow of pills, like 1,000 of different colored pills, and you how should you find those pill or those thing that's right for you? So you have to try out a lot, and that takes time, and that costs energy. And what came to my mind was I totally rip off Chris Marshall from last episode now, because one expression or one phrase that I can't get out of my head is this Pathfinder mindset, and I think that is something that
I like
that
it.
you really need, because that helps you. That helps you to find the path through those forest or those sea or ocean of different colored pills or whatever you call it, and it helps you to wander around the path, just like a Spaziergang in German, that you just wander around a bit and look around, and without a concrete goal, or you find your path to a destination you want to go, or you find the path somewhere you don't even know that you are looking for that at this moment. You just start finding the path, and then you follow.
But this is part of the discomfort thing, because this is directly the comfort level of, and it's the illusion of security, like what security is. And a lot of people are very uncomfortable with wandering.
I am you know why I am really uncomfortable with wandering?
Why? Or what?
The one of the most discomfortable things for me is when I don't know if the wandering is worth the effort or worth the time.
Oh.
When I don't know, do I get something out of that? And when it is enjoyable, for example, like what we do, we don't know what we get out of this podcast, but it's totally enjoyable, and I know I'm a lot smarter and more delighted and have fun, and the whole day is great after our conversation. That can be one thing, but the saying the way is the goal. I don't know if that's in English an expression as well.
Yeah.
Yes. In German we say der Weg ist das Ziel, so the way is the goal, the journey is the goal. For me, that doesn't really work. I want to have a goal where I go, and then the journey can be as short as possible, because I want to get to the end of the journey and I want to get there, and I wouldn't wander around on the way there normally. So when I know, okay, this wandering around helps me in finding something or getting a solution to a question or a problem that I have, then I would do the wandering, because then the wandering has some use. It's for a specific use. But doing wandering for the wandering's sake is really discomforting and hard for me, because there are so many other things I know I can do right now that I want to do.
I've got a question for you.
Yes.
And it's almost like homework, if you will. So this is going to be an interesting experiment. It's how often do you put yourself in even short periods of, wandering, if you will, quote unquote, wandering, and kind of being like a kid and going, oh, what's this here? How often are you in that? Do you actively put yourself in that situation? Now, it can be 5 minutes, or it can be 5 hours, or 5 days.
That's a little bit what we talked with Chris about. I do that on purpose, for example, when I'm driving a car. Because maybe I invented mindful driving. Because the only when I'm alone in the car and there are no calls to make or nobody calls me and there's nothing I want to listen to, then I'm sitting in the car and I'm driving without any music or whatever, and just be mindful about what the road is doing under me, what the car is doing, where it's squeaking, how it feels like under my butt, like how, I try to feel what the car is doing, because I don't have anything to do in that moment anyway. But that's not really wandering. Sometimes
it can be.
The last time I would say that I was wandering in that manner was on Saturday when I brought the kid to a museum where she had a little workshop in a nature science museum, and I used the 2 hours not to go back home because it was too short from the time. So I stayed in the city and I did some errands, and the rest of the time I was trying out my new camera and was taking photos and pictures in the city. So that was some kind of wandering, but it was the wandering for the sake to get some cool pictures back home. And yesterday I went outside with the camera, for example, and I was totally annoyed because I didn't find anything to photograph. So I wandered for 15 minutes or so, wandered around trying to find some motives to take some pictures, didn't find anything, and that was pissing me off.
Okay, there's a shift in wording, because in that context you weren't wandering, you were searching. Because if you were just wandering, you wouldn't have gotten pissed off.
It was kind of searching, yeah.
Yeah, because you had an agenda. I mean, even if we don't realize it, this is the kind of thing where we don't realize it until we're in it. Or after the fact, when we get pissed off or frustrated and be like, that wasn't wandering, that was searching. The thing of because sometimes it's not obvious until after the fact.
I am, now that you are describing it that way, the most time, and that I do like daily, and sometimes I'm really happy when I have half an hour or hour of time, and sometimes I really procrastinate just to do wandering through the web. That's my kind of wandering. That's my kind of starting on a website, and after an hour I wandered along 7, 8, 9 different topics that are somehow connected for me. But if somebody else would like look in my browser history and say, what do this 30 pages have to do with each other? What were you doing? It's scattered all over the place. And I could like go, no, this is the context. And
exactly.
like draw a diagram how all those things are connected in a network that would look like these walls with photos and paper articles from FBI agents who are looking for a serial killer and have connected everything with red thread. That's something I do quite often. That's my style of wandering.
Yeah, it is fun. I do enjoy that as well. The cerebral wandering. I'm like, what's this?
But that's on the other hand, maybe that is it can be problematic. Because let's say, I think we have talked about that already in some episode. The digital connectedness or the web itself made it possible to find exactly the people that you are looking for that are not in your physical circle. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's like I would say it's the highest level of postmodernism, because we can surround ourselves with exactly that individual people that are interested in the same things, that we don't need, at least for me, that we don't need that much face-to-face contact with, in air quotes, real people around us. Because I rather chose to talk to you, for example, to talk to several other people in the physical world, because I don't have that much in common with them anymore, or it's not that interesting for me. And so you can get from the outside, people could think that you are isolating yourself, or that you are that somebody changed, for example, because they are not interested anymore in the things they maybe were interested in 25 years ago. But for me, I'm not interested anymore in the things 25 or 30 years ago, because I found much more interesting things I want to surround myself with.
And we evolve, hopefully.
Yes.
and find other things and learn more, and it's always expanding.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. The thing that pops into my head is, because I know that the particular thing that can roll into areas of I want to say unhealthy, or different levels of spectrum, different levels of unhealthy to toxic to really detrimental, is that incessant dopamine hit that the internet offers us. But it's like when I'm out in the garden center, I can exhaust myself. I'm like, look at that. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's like the amount of, dopamine and oxytocin, because I love the plants. Look at them, and I have to touch them, and it's by the time I leave a garden center, I'm exhausted, because I've been fraternizing with all the plant life. Yeah, and I do the same thing when I'm in nature, like when I'm taking a walk and the moss. Okay, I have a thing for moss, and there's different types of moss, and I have to pet all the moss, because you have to touch them. They're soft, and they like to be pet. I think I'm sure of it. And so I take a walk if I'm in a particular part of the woods or whatever, but there's lots of moss. Yeah, I'm like in, actively full on moss caressing mode. And it makes me so happy. And I'm sure it makes the moss happy as well. I'm sure of it.
I'm pretty
sure. But it's like the hit, even talking about it, I can feel like, woof, the the endorphins or whatever, not endorphins, but yeah. And so it's like we get those hits from online and offline. Same thing you get when you're cuddling your animals or kids.
I think it's different from that. I think what you described is this typical hunter-gatherer brain that's kicking in. It's like finding something and
right.
You just using the opportunity and saying, okay, I found this and I found that, and you want to bring everything that you found that you really like home. And it's
easy to do that online, though. Yeah. It's like, oh, save that, put that in the file. Oh, save that for later. I'll look at that later. And like, do we?
Yeah.
I've got files and files and files of stuff that I never look at, but I had to have it. had to have it.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe later. But I mean, the hardest thing for me in that regard is some souvenir shop being on vacation. I mean, the souvenir shop in Schloss Neuschwanstein, I could have like rented one of those horse coaches and just put all the junk in there that they are selling there, because it's this one-time opportunity. You know, I mean, it's this. Okay, I'm here now, and my girlfriend is like, take a picture of it. We don't need it. It's like, no, we are minimalists. We don't need that stuff. And the kid, of course, is like, oh, I want this, and can I have this? And I'm always like, okay, you can have this. And
so
then
you're blaming it on the kid. It's like, but
no. I'm not blaming it on the kid. I'm just saying, okay, you chose this, and I let her choose the cheapest thing. That's really cool. Mm-hmm. And I say, okay, and I buy this for me, and I lend it to you, and I buy the more expensive thing, and so Angie can't say that she got too much, because I can always say, I bought it for me. She can just lend it when she wants.
Okay.
But I really have to rein myself in locations where everything seems to be totally unique and a once in a lifetime opportunity to get.
I understand that. Yeah.
I almost can, one of the pictures I can resemble in my aphantasia head is the picture of a Fender Telecaster in cream beige that I found on a musician's flea market around 30 years ago. And I wanted to buy a guitar. I was there to buy a guitar. But my budget was like, I think 500 mark back then, 500 mark or 600 mark. And so I had to buy a guitar. I wanted to buy an amp. No, I had the amp already. I don't know. But the guitar was like 800 or 900 marks. So I could have bought the guitar, but then I wouldn't have had enough for the other stuff, and I'm still regretting that. It's still
the
like
ones that got away. The ones that got away.
It's this guitar that I really wanted. I didn't pull the trigger, and I'm still regretting it. And I'm still thinking, okay, maybe if I had bought that guitar and not the cheap Strat that I didn't like, and maybe I would have been a real good guitar player by now. maybe
you know, it's important to have, you know, every once in a while let the certain ones get away, because that we have it in our head that, you know, it can act as a discernment factor when we do really want something, and say, okay, you know, if I walk away from this, will I be? So it's kind of like an anchor for discernment. You know, am I going to be sad if I walk away from this? You know, and so we can try and put ourselves in that position. Yeah. This is a tool, folks. This is a tool of perspective that we're using right now. And so it's like, when I'm 80, here's another one. When I'm 80, will I be bummed that I did not get this or do this thing? Whatever, get it, do it, anything like that. Anything that gives us perspective out of the immediate moment that we're in. It really helps.
I see myself looking at the
You're Googling it?
Craigslist.
Craigslist.
For a cream Telecaster. Yeah, but that's my style of wandering.
But it's fun, you know, and it's fun to play around with it, play around with the ideas. You know, it's like, I want a cello. I want a cello. I want a cello so bad. And it's the kind of thing, it was like, well, what are you going to play it? I'm like, I don't know, but I want it. I crave it. And the cello music. And so when you were talking about the orchestra and being able to get musicians to come practice, and I'm just like, oh, hell yes. If I could just, I want somebody to come to my house and play the cello. I would be so happy. I would be so happy.
Do you know Zoe Keating?
Yes. Well, not personally, of course, but.
No. Zoe Keating and do you know Apocalyptica as well?
I don't.
Apocalyptica are 4 guys from Finland, I guess, who play metal songs on 4 cellos.
Ah, yes, I've seen them. I've seen
cool.
them.
Really cool. But Zoe Keating is just her own level. I mean, she started looping long before Ed Sheeran made it big, and it's so fascinating what she can do with a cello.
Yeah.
Cool. I have to run.
I know you've got to jump. That was a really interesting session this time. Yeah. It's so funny because it's like we're doing this and it's like we're doing it for everybody else, but it's also like so much fun and interesting, the conversations and exploring like what life is. This is what this is all about. And I really appreciate you.
Yeah. Me you do. Just have to find Apocalyptica and Zoe Keating to put them in the show notes here.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, and I have to, when I get off here, I've got to put make the announcement for Chris's.
Oh yes, me too.
Episode. Yeah.
And if you listened until this point, we just realized that Spotify, the Spotify page of Free Range Thinking, has a new function. And when you click on the episode, you can leave us a voice message. We don't know how it works, and we don't know where to find it then, but please try it out. And maybe
do it.
Maybe you
leave us a silly message.
Yeah, maybe you get in one of the next episodes.
Yeah. That would be fun.
Yeah. Like an answering machine.
Send us a love message.
Oh yeah.
It's like a love letter. Dear Alex and Sharon. Cool. Then thanks for joining us, and we'll see you later.
See you later. Bye.
Have a good week. Bye.
You too. Bye.